Now this is a fish that certainly knows how to make an entrance. That bright pop of orange stands out in a crowded ocean. Its name is the Garibaldi, and it's the state fish of California. Now if you're a California diver, you've probably already guessed where this footage is taken. Today, we'll be exploring the kelp forest of Catalina Island on this episode of Submerged Stories. What's the top thing to do in Los Angeles? Well, if you're a subscriber of this channel, the answer is easy. Forget the Walk of Fame and head over to Catalina Island. Follow the signs for the casino building. You can't miss it. It's the landmark built in 1928 that defines the island. The beautiful art will give you a really great preview of what to expect when you're diving off of Casino Point. And hey, look, those are the Garibaldi we saw earlier. And okay, this particular mural might have overpromised about what to expect, but let's not get distracted. Let's gear up, head down the stairs off of Casino Point, and go for a dive. Wave to the camera, that's me, hi, and let's submerge. You've already met the Garibaldi, but now let's learn a little bit about its ecosystem, the kelp forests of California. These seas are famous for a reason. They're full of life, like these kelp bass you see here. If I had to sum them up in one word, it would be chill. I mean, just look at them hanging there. They're barely even bothering to swim. And it's a three-dimensional environment, so if you look up, you'll see fish, and when you look down, boom, a California sheephead coming straight at you out of the forest. These are super cool fish. They're big, they're colorful, and look at this guy. Look at his eyes. Don't tell me they're not cute as well. The sheephead is a particularly interesting species because every single juvenile is born as a female. That means in order for the species to survive, the females need to transform into males. That's right, this is a hermaphroditic fish. Pretty cool, huh? Sometimes nature can really amaze and surprise you. Let's jump back to the kelp itself for a second. It's hard to understate how much swimming through a kelp forest really feels like, well, I guess hiking through a land forest. It's pretty cool, and these plants are pretty incredible. The leaves obviously provide the food and soak up the sunlight, and then they're lifted upwards by these little air-filled floats. You can see them right there attached to the base of the leaf. To prevent the kelp from floating away like a balloon, there's this really amazing root-like structure that anchors the whole plant to the floor of the ocean. As literal pillars of the community, many animals have evolved to fit inside the kelp forest. Can you spot the fish? Here, let's get a little closer. The kelpfish, very aptly named, should come into focus a little bit better. This fish probably wouldn't make sense swimming out in the open ocean. When you see it up against the leaves of the kelp, well, it really earns its name. What a great example of nature camouflaging at its best. The kelpfish blends in the forest, although divers don't as much. This can really give you an example of just how much it feels like bushwhacking it can be to swim through this forest. In fact, our dive guide even had a light on his tank so he wouldn't lose him in the density of this jungle. Meanwhile, on another part of Catalina Island, let's check back in with those Garibaldi. This is a male Garibaldi, and I know that because he's defending his nest. That's that red piece of algae you see behind him. They're very territorial. They'll even charge me and tell me, hey, get off my lawn. In fact, these fish are very much the dads of the ocean world. They'll diligently clean and mow their lawn. They'll nibble down that red algae to just the right height and clear all the other forms of algae and growth off of their lawn to make the place just perfect for the females to nest in. And you can see they'll remove any foreign objects and debris that come into their nest, like my dive guide putting down this mussel, which the Garibaldi is picking up and carrying away from his lawn. Again, it's got to be just perfect for those eggs and for his females. Once his eggs hatch, you'll get, well, baby Garibaldi, juvenile Garibaldi. And when they're young, they have these beautiful fluorescent spots. You can see the blue just sparkling on these young Garibaldi. In fact, in this next clip, an even younger juvenile, you can see how many more bright spots it has. So that blue is really strong when they're younger. It gets a little less noticeable when they're teenagers, and ultimately, by the time they grow up and become adult Garibaldis, they'll be pure orange, like their moms and dads. And in fact, only the males are super territorial and defend these nests from year to year to year. The younger juveniles and the females, well, they'll swim about the kelp forest like these guys are doing. It's really quite a beautiful home for a Garibaldi to inhabit, and I think they just add a great contrast and pop of color to these beautiful kelp forests. There really is so much life to discover right off the coast of California. Like, look, right there, not far from that dad Garibaldi, a Moray Eel in his little hole hiding out. These guys are pretty cool. Some people think they're very snake-like and that turns them off, but I think there's something kind of cute about them. And look, my dive guide's even playing with him a little bit. I don't know if I would put my finger that close to the eel, but he doesn't seem to mind too badly. Really, this is an incredible dive site to explore, and I was overwhelmed with awe at how beautiful it was. I'm not the first person to think that either. The famous scuba diver explorer Jacques Cousteau came here often, and in fact, this dive site is dedicated as a memorial to him. I certainly understand what made Jacques fall in love with this place after only a couple of dives. I can't wait to come back and explore more of Catalina Island next time. Thanks so much for joining me. This has been another episode of Submerged Stories. If you enjoy it and want to see more content like this and support the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.